and welcome to Josef's Model Railway and an exceptionally messy toy room here today. I'd like to thank you, girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen, so much for joining me. As always, just a little bit of housekeeping. You don't need to like, follow, or subscribe. I just put the videos out there where I can and have a holly jolly great time doing so. Now, in today's video, we're going to need to take a little wander outside of the toy room here to find something. So let's go for a wander and see what it is.
Go walking to find this one. Ah, yes. Let's turn some lights on, shall we? Ah, yes. Lights. Ah, that's better. There he is. Now, what's going on here with these couple of mysteries on the top shelf? Let's dive in.
Okay, first of all, it's an absolute mess in here, I know. But you're going to see that forest video shortly and it'll all start unraveling itself. And we are making some particular progress on the layout, even though it might not seem like that at the moment. For example, our refueling depot that we've been working on is now just had its base layer sorted out at the moment, and we're ready to start doing that at the moment. So I've got the kits to start doing the overhead fueling lines and things like that. So bit for bit, we are getting there. But today, we're not going to be talking about trains, I'm afraid. We're coming back to the toy section. And perhaps what I could describe is just a magic moment in time for me. We're going to be talking about this particular Supertoys Porsche 944. Sorry for the boring bit, but I need to give you a little bit of history on it. Of course, this one is particularly dusty. This is my personal one that I was given somewhere around about the age of about 4, 5, or 6. It was certainly, I remember it most of the time, always in my toy box. It's hard not to remember it. Now, unfortunately, it does have had a friction engine, and the engine would rock left and right. The friction mechanism did break for me quite early, perhaps in its first year or something like that. But it used to spin quite freely. It had these wonderful, and I want to say Bridgestone tires from memory, and it was a great car for pushing around. Red and blue light that of course aren't there anymore, and also served the purpose that when you push down on the red one, it would cause this door to open and you could see police officers inside. And I nicknamed it the Rumpole car. Of course, for those of you who may be aware, there was a TV show starring the late and great Leo McKern, Rumpole of the Bailey. Of course, Rumpole was a barrister, not a police officer, but seeing that show and linking the two together in my brain at that age is why I associated it with that name. I've always loved this particular car. It's a fantastic car for a toy car, the right size, the right everything. And when I got it, I remember receiving it at Christmas time, and my cousin had received the other vehicle, which is the exact same car, except in red and white, and was a fire chief car from memory. Same car though, same actions. I love them both. I'm glad I got the police car because I like my red and blue lights on the top, but I always thought that red had a certain pop of color. But needless to say, I always wanted to replace this car, so thanks to discoveries of popular auction sites that can remain nameless, off I've gone to try and recreate all the toys that I had when I was young, which is of course what this channel is mostly all about. However, this has been quite challenging. All I've got printed on the bottom of the vehicle is Supertoys made in Hong Kong, and that is about all I can tell you on this vehicle, other than, of course, at the top, P18 was its call sign and it had a number plate. And I've had this in my, I don't mind telling you, eBay search list now for at least some 20 years. Wasn't, of course, until recently I put the two and two together, realizing it was a Porsche 944, because of course in real life the geometry is slightly different. This is obviously stocked in a little more. Of course, it's slightly longer, but here we are. So I started searching for police 944 toy police cars and still didn't get very far. However, it's the year 2023. And for some reason, my dreams came true when a search result had come up showing the police car. I instantly didn't even argue with the price and simply selected buy now, and it was coming from the US. However, there were some challenges, and there always is. There was damage to the vehicle, the tires had melted away and things like that. And I thought, well, just send it over because something is better than nothing. Ta-da! Could you believe it? Here it is. Okay, you're right, the tires. We can see where we've had a bit of that damage on. But can you believe the condition? I mean, this is effectively mint condition in the box. It looks like it has never, ever been used. Absolutely fantastic. And as if that wasn't enough, at least by having the box, could you believe it, that as we turn around this magnificent specimen, ta-da! And there is that fire chief card that I have been looking for. So I'm halfway there to having what it was. And of course, we still have the original price tag on it for $9.99. And that seems quite fair for what sort of vehicle it would have been, that sort of $10 type of car you could have picked up at a toy store. Now, I haven't opened this since receiving it, so I thought we might share a moment together because as far as I can see, this looks like it still is the original sealing on it. It has been undone and opened, but as I said, it doesn't look like it's actually been used in any way. So that's what we're going to do today. But wait, there's more. It's me. Would you expect anything less? Because the seller just happened to have, ta-da! Yes, indeed. Look, I know it's the same car, but to those of you on the other side of that lens in YouTube world watching this video, well, can you believe it? Because yes, those colors really do pop. And unfortunately, we still do have the tires and of course a little bit of discoloration in the white. However, the tires were actually Goodyear and it's still printed on this one here. And that's an important thing because companies like Bridgestone and Goodyear and the tire manufacturers often actually do provide the rubber for a lot of toy vehicles. So it's not just they're trying to model it, make it like that. That company is actually manufacturing the rubber. So let us dive in and have a look what we have here. Absolutely fantastic. What more could you be hoping for in a result like this to tick off one of those bucket list items to have and own? Again, it's more of a sentimental ownership. The cost I purchased these for, I believe, might have been about $30. So it's certainly not something we're trying to find a financial gain in. And that's kind of the whole point of my attire collection. It's not about that at all. It's what brings me joy to it. I'm not looking for complete collections and things like that. Just getting that little time machine to come back to times that were quite happy. Now, what an absolutely stunning specimen. Now, actually, there we go. We can still see the engine movement. I can feel it's not quite as tight as it was, but you can still see the movement that should exist that of course mine clearly does not deliver. The colors are absolutely fantastic. You couldn't get any glossier than that if you even tried. That's in impeccable condition. And yes, there's been some melting on the tires, but they're still there and still intact. I'm questioning whether or not that's tried to have been repaired. The front ones aren't spinning and it does, as you can see, look like they've put a bead of glue or something on them. Again, I'm not per se playing with them. I guess the ultimate test is to push the red button and the door does open. And of course, there are our friendly officers inside. And I think that's pretty damn fine to me. And I believe how it was you could wind the engine up to build friction and then push the blue button to release that and get it to zoom along, was the general purpose there. Absolutely fantastic. And the fact they're still in their boxes, which is where they would have just been living anyway, marvelous stuff. And that styrofoam is held up well. That's nice and solid, so that's going to work well. Let us now have a quick look at the fire chief. Now, as we take this one out of the box, I think it's just noting for those of you who are playing along at home and are interested in what we're doing, if I bring it in nice and close, you should be able to get all the details you require here. Mostly it's probably going to be to do with the fact that this is a Supertoys number 820W. and respectively it was 820W for the police vehicle as well. But that's more than I ever had, and that could have gone a little way there. Emergency 944, so obviously that's our Porsche number there. And of course I don't remember the box to mine. Now of course on the police version we did talk about P18 was the call sign at the top. On the fire one it is F38. So let us slide this one out of the box now. Looks like it's got a slight bit of abrasion here, and that looks like it's probably from the styrofoam there. But again, it really, if it has been played with, you really wouldn't know. There's no dents or scratches. Again, the styrofoam mark here, which I could just take off with my fingernails. It does have, of course, if we have a good close look here, you should be able to notice Goodyear printed clearly there on the sidewalls of those tires. As we can see inside, nice and clean on all the plastic. I don't think these wheels spin around, to tell you the truth. They look like they're quite fixed in place. I don't want to manipulate and break it any further. In fact, I could see where they've taken some glue or plastic has moved actually, and it's been sealed up there. There's not much I can do about that. I'm so sorry. So we're not going to see any movement from that one per se, but it's exactly the same motion. Door still opens, and there he is, or she, depending on your philosophical bent here in today's modern era. But we do have the fire chief inside. I think that's absolutely magnificent. That picture itself is just fantastic. Interesting to note, can't see the seatbelt on per se, but how times have changed back then.
Copy that, BKC. Could you get the chocolate covered one, thanks?
Well, girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen, once again, that now concludes yet another video. I'd like to thank you, as always, for joining me today. For those of you that have noticed a few times in some of the videos when I shoot on this particular angle, what's going on over here with this? This is really here just to protect me. The cabinet work finishes right here in a straight line. And it's just this little corner of the cabinet that I could just see myself when I'm doing the ballasting or something as we come into this section, pushing my head down and bashing it into here. So this is just a bit of a warning that I'm like, oh, there's something there, to be aware of that. Once this is all finished, the chances of needing to come in over here and doing anything are pretty slim. But that's all it's here for at the moment, just so you know. But what a tremendous find. Let's get sensible here. I could not believe my luck. And I still have a few things on the old list of things I'm trying to chase down, but we're really making great progress. I pretty much have the bulk of everything I've always ever wanted to see sitting in this room. Here's another one we can tick off the list, and I think that is just an absolute pair of stunning vehicles. But sincerely, I appreciate those of you that spend a moment to watch these videos that sometimes aren't to do with the model railway. It really is just a personal connection for me ticking these things off, so it's more so sentimental and archival footage for me in the future and to my family. But I really do appreciate and hope you take as much enjoyment out of seeing something that's just emerged from the 80s as if it was just a living time capsule. In the next video, we'll be revealing part 1 of the forestry section. So until then, as always, stay safe and we'll see you in the next one. Toodles!